It's time, 1:42. Normally on a Thursday, Simon Doull joins us. 98 Test wickets for NZ. Hey, welcome back to the show, mate.
Cheers, mate. No problem. Nice to be back with you.
Yeah, a little dramatic in Auckland it was, downtown this morning. And, you know, I'll tell you what's so crazy, dude. You know, you walk into the middle of something like this and it's so surreal because... You know, this is what I actually believe now. Because we're so conditioned to, you know, cop shows and crime shows and movies and video games and all of that kind of stuff, that you see men and women with these weapons and they don't seem real.
And it's amazing where New Zealand has got to, mate. I mean, I was out with a couple of friends from India last night, actually, and they'd just moved to London. And I was saying, look, I really don't have any interest in going back to New Zealand, which is a bit sad, but it is the case. I was telling them about crime and about the gun problems, all that. So they said, no way. I said, well, I reckon there'd be a shooting a week goes on, at least, if not more. And you never used to hear about it.
No.
I mean, it's probably a shooting a day now.
Well, and this is the thing, and I wonder where it does get reported. You know, a stat came out the other day, and I'd never heard of the word ram raid up until about a year ago. Well, there's now at least 3 a day in New Zealand. And I don't know who reports these, but you know, you never really, you know, I just urge everyone, look at the major news websites, how many of these are actually reported. You know, the Prime Minister solved gun crime. She was all over the US talk shows, if you do remember, a year or so ago, and the slavish media that followed her were reporting that happily that she'd solved gun crime. Just, scary, mate. Scary stuff. But also, and it's what you expect if you're walking around a major European city. You see men and women in blue with you know, enormous-looking weapons. You don't expect to see it in New Zealand. Anyway, let's move on to the more mundane matters in front of us, mate. We've got a World Cup of football starting tonight in New Zealand. I want to ask you about the coverage that's been getting. But day one, Old Trafford. Thankfully, the rain stayed away, although it's forecast again over the next few days. We both know Munster rains like hell. Let's celebrate Stuart Broad, you being a bowler, Doully. 600 test wickets. There's only a handful of men that have ever done this extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the longevity of the career, I think, is what we talk about often with Stuart, with Jimmy Anderson. Broadie's played 166 test matches now, which is just phenomenal. Bowling average under 28 with 600 wickets. It just is, you know, it really is an incredible career from the length of time, but also the ability to just keep running and keep sort of inventing himself a little bit, or reinventing himself, just a touch along the way. He's got a newish delivery, which he worked on all of the off-season, the one that swings away a little bit from the right-hander. He picked Marnus Labuschagne up a couple of times with it through the series already. So it's a real testament to the fitness. But also remember that these guys, he and James Anderson, haven't played a white ball game since, I think, 2015, when after that debacle in New Zealand with the World Cup and the likes, I don't think, even on that tournament, I don't think they were playing much white ball cricket at all. And they haven't played a white ball game for England since then. So they are purely and simply test match bowlers. That's all they're saved for. And I say all, England are playing on average about 10 or 12 a year. But that's their job. They get paid very, very well to do that by the ECB because they've got the money, and hence the longevity of the career is there for all to see. He's been phenomenal, really has.
So I'm just looking down the list here of those that have taken that amount of wickets. Obviously, you've got 2 spinners at the top in Mutai and RIP, our mate Shane Warne. And then you've got Kumble at number 4 as well. So there's only Anderson and Broad that have taken 600. First and foremost, a testament, to the decisions these guys have made to concentrate on Test cricket, and just hearing Broad afterwards saying, you know, his words, "I'm addicted to Test cricket. I love the grit of it. I love the nuances of it." Yeah. God Almighty, Simon, I just felt like just writing a lullaby, a love song to that. Isn't that the most beautiful thing to hear?
Yeah, look, it is. And you've known that for quite some time, though, with James Anderson and with Broadie as well, and 1 or 2 others in the England setup. But that's all they get to do. They only get to play for their country when test matches come around. Now, the beauty of being only playing one format in this country is that, as I said, you play 10 or 12 a year, and pretty much 10 or 12 almost every year. Whereas New Zealand, if you are only a test player, a la the BJ Watlings of the last 5, 6, 7 years, the Neil Wagners, sometimes you had a year where you had 5 or 6 test matches, and that just doesn't quite cut the mustard. So, the amount of tests that's played, they can still afford to train, wholeheartedly for just that. Get some time in county cricket in the division, 1 or 2 of the county championship, and sort of get themselves ready to play test cricket. But that's their role, that's their job, and they get paid very well to do it. And pleased for Stuart. He's a great lad. He's very honest. Very honest in any interview. He's a Sky commentator waiting to happen. In the next couple of years, when he decides to hang the boots up, he'll be straight into that setup. And he's a bloody good pundit.
Simon Doull, with his 98 Test wickets, spends his whole life covering commentating cricket all over the world. 299 for 8 again, and we've talked about this right throughout the series, mate. You end day one, and I'm just like, I don't know who's got an advantage. I don't know if anyone's got an advantage, and it's perfectly poised.
Absolutely brilliantly poised. Look, England would have loved to have bowled Australia out around about that 300 mark. The average first innings score at Manchester is around 380. So they're still well and truly below where they should be. And it shows me that it's a decent surface, but you never quite feel in on it. Because when you look through the scoreboard, outside of Khawaja, you look at the top 6, 32, 51, 41, 48, 51, Green 16, Carey 20, Stark 23. So there's always a ball there or thereabouts that's probably got, without saying got your name on it, a ball that can get you out. So it's still doing enough without you feeling too comfortable as a batter the whole way through it. England need to press, so they need these 2 wickets very early tomorrow morning, providing the weather stays away. And just think about how they play it. Really, in any given situation, they bowled 83 overs today. Let's say they would probably only bat for 65, 70 overs anyway in both innings, because that's kind of what they do. So the whole test match really doesn't need much more than about 300 overs for it to kind of be a result. And when you think about that in overs terms, there's plenty of time, even if they do get a bit of weather, to get that test match done and dusted, because we know that England will come hard. We know that England will be positive, and they've still got an opportunity. But I think the surface with Australia, they've gone in with Hazelwood, Cummins, Stark, Green and Marsh, and then a bit of Travis Head.
Simon, is that conservative of them? Is that a side that you look at and think that team's playing for a draw to clinch this?
No, it's not, because, I know there was some commentary in and around, they should have played a spinner. But I watched Todd Murphy bowl at Headingley. He's not a patch on Nathan Lyon. If Lyon was fit, would he have played 100%? Of course he would. He played every test match, in my opinion. But Todd Murphy's not a patch on Nathan Lyon. He had some success in India when conditions were very friendly, but he actually just doesn't bowl the ball consistently well in the right place. And at times, I think you just pick your best bowlers. And if they feel that their 3 best bowlers are Hazelwood, Cummins and Stark, with a mix of Green and Marsh, who can provide runs, also don't forget the slip catching and the brilliant fielding that those guys provide too. So I don't think it is a conservative decision whatsoever. They're saying that Travis Head can do the similar job to what a Joe Root or even Moeen Ali can do from England's point of view. So, and I don't think they're far wrong. It's hard to argue with it.
Simon Doull with us. We're talking about day 1, 4th Test Ashes. We've had a break of about 9 days. All right, England have got to win this one to square it. Listening to Stokes in the pre-match interviews, he was bullish and he said that, look, we got to press and we are going to press. So the next couple of days, what do you expect? England are going to go hell, aren't they? They have to. They got to rack up more than Australia, whatever it is, and then give themselves enough time to bowl them out again, weather permitting, because it's Manchester. I love the LWP. I don't normally like live win probability, but it's pretty much 33, 33, 33, mate.
Yeah, the weather's coming. That is a bit of an issue. Look, you could lose a day. I reckon you could lose a day and still get a good result in this test match. So if you calculate over the course of the next sort of 3 or 4 days, if they lose 90 to 100 overs, there's still every chance of a possibility of an outcome. If they start to get over the 100 over mark, lost in the test, I think you're then starting to bring the draw well and truly into calculations. If England picked up the 2 wickets in the morning for, in the first 20 minutes, half an hour, bowled Aussie out for around that 315, 320 mark, I would imagine the way they play, if they do get past Australia, they would do it inside of 60, 65 overs and then look to press on. But as the Australians have said, their bowlers have remained relatively fresh throughout the course of the Ashes so far because of the rate that England score at. So they're getting 350, but they're getting them in 65, 70, 80 overs. So their bowlers aren't actually doing as much work as they have done in the past when England have tried to eke out 350. So, they've still got pretty good miles in their legs, I think, the Aussie bowlers, and there's enough in that pitch to suggest to me that they could be a handful as well.
All right, 2 quick ones to finish with. World Cup underway tonight. That is Norway against the Football Ferns. Much coverage up there for the Women's World Cup. I'd expect so, given that the Lionesses are the Euro champs.
Yeah, plenty. Look, there was huge last summer here for the Lionesses, and they obviously go to New Zealand ranked number 4 in the world. I think the England women they're a very, very good side. There's massive coverage. Obviously, we just come off a really fantastic women's Ashes cricket series where England won both the T20 series and the ODI series after losing the Test match, and Australia haven't been beaten. I think New Zealand were the last team to beat them in 2017 in T20s, and I can't remember who it was to beat them 10 years ago in an ODI series. So that's how long it's been since they've lost it. But women's sport is on a massive high. There's huge coverage of the Lionesses in all the papers, all the news, and all about the World Cup getting underway. So look, it'll be very, very well covered up here. Probably better than most countries, I would imagine.
All right, yeah, you're never afraid of a punt either. Give me who's winning the Open, mate, starting tonight, New Zealand time.
Oh, wow. I mean, Rory was brilliant. That last hole that Rory played in the Scottish Open.
I know. How was that? Into the wind, Simon. That second shot,
really
mate.
Tough conditions.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, Bobby Mack's shot was unbelievable because he carved it into the punter way wide, and then Robert McIntyre had, I think, a 5-wood onto the green to get to go birdie for him, and then Rory had to birdie it. But that second shot was just phenomenal. It really was. So Rory's got to go in as one of the favourites. Cam Smith, defending champ, he won at Centurion last week on the Live Tour, so he's in pretty good form. Loves link style golf, so he'll be hard to go past again. But look, it'll be a cracking week. Plenty of very good golfers on show, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Robert McIntyre win one. And links golf is his go. Keep an eye out for Tommy Fleetwood, another guy that hits the ball really low, plays well. And John Rahm, don't be surprised if John Rahm bounces back and picks up a win there. So I don't know, put your money on 5 of them, you still make money, I think, if one of them wins.
All right, Royal Liverpool. I'm just looking down the Champions League draw. Can't see that name in there. Oh, Europa League. Sorry, I'm over this side. Sorry. Yeah.
No, Royal Liverpool's a golf course, Marty. That's, yeah. The football team don't play golf. They're too busy training because they haven't been good enough.